The goalie should have, according to everybody outside the goaltender union, the goalie should have every shot. Every coach will say a goalie has to have that. And be like, it was a 4-on-0.
All right, so I'm actually doing a third goalie powwow. This is taking forever. These two guys actually trying to get them locked down is like trying to get a couple of Hollywood actors locked down on an interview. But anyways, first guy here is over 16 years career in the NHL, 7 different teams, transitioned over to studio analyst. Been doing this for a long time now. Can kind of call him like a Mr. Hockey insider. That's Mr. Kevin Weeks.
How are
How
you?
you doing, buddy?
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, boys. Thank you.
And then the next one, we go way, way back, like 17, 18 years old. He had a 17-year pro career, 11 of those in the NHL, KHL, and then finished off in Japan, which I will bring up later. We have a connection there as well. Now an analyst for TSN Radio. He's on my television way too much for my
Yeah,
liking. But Jamie McLennan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
Noodles.
Good. Great to see everybody. Yeah, yeah, you're right. I am on too much.
Hey, listen, I feel the same way, seeing and hearing myself too for other
Yeah.
people. So I feel the same way as you, Noodles. I get it. I
It's
get it.
it's the car wash. You just,
Yeah,
hey, we need you to do this. We need you to do that. And then you blink and you're like,
sure.
I'm on 7 shows today. You're
Yep.
like,
Yep.
what's going on? So
But
it is.
totally.
When Weeksy started doing the update thing, that he'd put his head right here. It's kind of like I've seen my face too much.
I've
Exactly.
seen yeah, exactly. Just give you a little variation for my face. That's my forehead.
Yeah.
I can get into that later in the show too. I'll get into that. But yes, you just nailed it. You get tired of seeing and hearing yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially, I think all three of us are pretty extroverted in a lot of ways, even though we probably value our quiet time. We're all extroverted. So we love seeing people and connecting. And you're at the rink, you see so and so, talk to the Zamboni driver, go hang with the trainers in the back, take care of the trainers, go talk to the arena people. So we're so used to that, but it seems like when you're doing as much media as we do, that it just seems like oftentimes it feels like a one-way conversation where you're seeing and hearing ourselves way too much. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the other end of it. Noodles, you agree?
I agree. I mean, it's funny because I forget, like, I do overdrive. Like, I sometimes forget
Mhm.
I'm on TV.
Yeah, yeah, same.
And like my wife, Steph, will be like, "How was the show?" I'm like, "I don't know. I forgot what we talked about. Like, we talked for
Yeah.
2 hours." And then, as long as you don't swear or do something stupid, you think the show was good. But like, you're right. Like, I forget.
Yeah.
But I got my buddy here, Peter Hanlon, who's the AGM
Hmm.
Flames,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
we were laughing. He's like, "You're more visible as a media member, way more visible than I was as an NHL goalie." Like,
Sure.
and especially living in Toronto, obviously it's a
Hmm.
hockey hotbed type of thing. But yeah, I turn and look and see something that I taped a month ago, and I forgot I taped it, and you're like, "Oh, there I am right there." But it is, yeah, it's way too much for my liking, but it is, it's our job, so it is what
Yeah.
it is.
Some of the best content that I've watched you, Noodles, is when it is like that, where it's just convo
Yeah,
and
Mhm.
and the boys chatting it up with
yeah,
O'Neill. Like that's the ones I like watching when
yeah.
it's the analytical stuff and that kind of content's great and informative. But I love it when you guys get going.
Well, it's more, you know what it is, and it's like anything. The three of us can sit and we could probably talk for 5 hours, and we might get to three topics that, other people would be like, "Oh, that's breaking down a game, or that's doing this and that." Like, I always feel like I like the organic stuff, and Weeksy, you
Mhm.
can to it too. I don't like the manufactured stuff. Like,
Mhm.
man, I like talk. The reason I like doing color is it's live and
Yeah, same.
you're reacting to what you're seeing, and you're bringing some insight as to, what people may be seeing or feeling and all of that. I don't love as much, and I understand we're in the content game, so you have to go with it. But it's like, okay, who's going to win the Atlantic this year? How
Mhm.
many goals is McDavid going to score? Like, a lot of that stuff is content and it's fan engagement. I don't love it as much because I don't have a crystal ball. What I do, do I think this team's going to be good? Like, there's things where I'm like, Yeah, Winnipeg's got really something going there, and then they just fall off a cliff this year. I didn't see the Leafs missing the playoffs this year. Like I didn't,
Hmm.
don't see it. I didn't see Anaheim continuing to get better and better, and then just
Hmm.
Edmonton hitting a wall, and they're injured, obviously down the middle of the ice and all of that. But it just, that's why you play the games. I always tell my son, I tell everybody, like,
Yes.
what do you make of it? I don't know. Like I think I like this team on paper. I'll give you an example. I said
Hmm.
this last night. I think the Florida Panthers look awesome on paper. They're top nine. There's not a top nine in the league that looks like that. I don't know what that translates to,
Hmm.
but if Markey can hold up in net and Schmid, like, their decor seems to be back. Under the radar, they signed that Gudis, who's a bastard to play against.
Love them. Love
Love
them.
him, love him.
Mm.
Love
So
the Butcher. Love them.
that team looks like a menace for me. Like, they look like a menace. I don't know if 84 games and Father Time's going to come for some of these guys. I don't know, but to me, somebody asked me that yesterday. Who do you like? I said I think Florida looks like they're ready to go right back at it. So again, that's just my opinion, which I have to live with. But like, it's the manufactured stuff where it's like, okay, let's just talk about it. But I'd much rather talk about, some of the dumb things we talk about on the daily basis, which is, and I've got some pretty good contributors with ODog and hey, those guys are brilliant with content. So anyways, that I like the hockey side. I like the actual talking of the things that we see and the stuff that we've experienced.
Hmm.
I think I needs to go down that direction for like viewership. Like you watch some of the panels, for example, and the
Hmm.
contrast, and I respect them all. Like I know a lot of
Sure.
the people,
Hmm.
Yeah.
but there's ones that I don't want to say paint dry, but like it's like the same, tic-tac-toe, X's and O's, very hockey analytical. And
Hmm.
then there's business panel,
Right.
right? And you just see this, it attracts people, and it has hockey content in there, but
Hmm.
there's this live feeling like you just don't know what the dude's gonna say or do.
Yeah.
It keeps you engaged.
Yeah.
And it's interesting I'm an outsider in this part, and I watch it, and I love it. Like your week's even way more animated, and I like that. It comes
Thank
from
you.
the football panel side of
Hmm.
things. It's I'm not a football fan per se,
Hmm.
but you watch those panels or the Shack
Yes.
and
Yeah,
Oaks,
Mark.
The best. Kenny,
right?
But
Ernie.
I'll
Yes.
say this, and what has made Weeksy so great over the years, and we work together at the network and all of that, is the philosophy of, we'll call it home base. So with the network, they want to sell the game.
Hmm.
You celebrate the good things. So it's different. It'd be really funny on any particular night. I'd be working the NHL Network, and a guy gets a hat trick, and you're like, let's celebrate that. Let's see,
Yeah.
guy scored three, had a big night. Like, let's rally around it. Like the NHL Network and that philosophy was selling the game and their product. And so to
Hmm.
me, it actually, as an analyst, it's really good in a way you can go, this is what I saw. But in other situations, when you're doing analysis, it's like, okay, who screwed up that he got
Yeah.
a so
Yeah.
it's like, there's the saying, the burning bus and the beautiful baby.
Yeah.
People want to see the burning bus. They don't want to see the beautiful baby every night. But I think when you've got the TNT panel, I think what Weeksy you do it, on all your platforms and stuff, we forget, and I think it's a good reminder. We're in the entertainment business.
Hmm.
Like, so you have to be entertaining, or you at least have to be relatable. And that's I think you're talking about. Maybe you look at, and again,
Hmm.
XYZ panel. You don't name them. It's more just like they're really good, but I'm not as relatable as maybe over here and over there. So I just, the way I see it is, I remember I knew what I was as a player. So
Hmm.
I
Same.
I don't shoot, I don't fire bullets. I more go, hey, I remember being, if a guy's a tough night, I go, I've been there. We've been there.
Yeah.
He's a better player than that. He's had a tough night. But I think if you have fun with it, you're respectful. We're all in the entertainment business. So to me, it comes back to, and I think Weeksy, you've mastered that over the years. It's like
Thank you.
you find that secret sauce of like what makes you personally. He's different than I am as opposed to Biz or whoever name me an analyst. But you find your own what works for you, and then you build that out.
Yeah, thanks for that, Noodles. Yeah, I think that makes me hit a lot of high notes there in general. But thanks for the kind words. I would say this too. I think for the majority of us, it's always putting the game first. And you just touched on it. That's always home base, putting the game first, putting the sports first, putting the players first, because the players are always the product. And
Right.
then also it being full circle for us, because like that awesome picture on your right, camera left, with you and the great Grand Fuhrer, we've all come up through the game
Yeah.
and we've had this path through the game, right? So whether it's playing against Notre Dame Hounds going out west, whether it was playing the Kamloops Kibet Bantam tournament going out west, the Calgary Max tournament, Peter Nedved was there before us. Dusty, watching you on TV. Who's this Dusty Emu guy? Noodles, watching you on TV. Who's this goalie? Who's Chris Osgood? No, it's Freddie Brathwaite. No, it's so-and-so.
Yeah.
And watching all of you and aspiring, especially you guys that are older than us, aspiring to, oh my God, it's a junior game. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Like, I'm actually getting goosebumps. Like, there is that path and our paths within the game and always being true to that. And then not wanting to necessarily, we can be fair, we can be accurate, be entertaining, but
Right.
remembering what it's like for our parents when they were watching, or our siblings when they were watching, or whatever, and doing things in a way, like you said, that's respectful. Hey, this
Yeah.
guy's a really outstanding goalie. That's a goal he stops 9 out of 10 times. He can't let that in. Like,
Yeah.
that's stoppable. He's got to make that save. He can. He usually does. But he needed to there, and he didn't. Here's why.
Yeah.
So I couldn't agree with you more on that. And I think that that's really, really important. I always just go back to, and then what's also cool is we've lived in different places and we play for different teams and lived in different markets. So it's almost like the reverse, Noodles. You've now been in Toronto, what, 14 years?
Uh,
Maybe?
yeah. This is year 16
Year
starting.
Holy
16? Okay,
smokes.
so I'm off. You've been in my hometown for all that time. You get to see it. You get to see the minor hockey scene, biggest minor hockey scene in the world. And
Yeah.
there's every level of hockey from Tyke
Yeah.
and Adam and Pee Wee up to to tier two, all different tier two leagues, to major junior CHL to American League to NHL. Seen it all, done it all. And then for me, I have lived in all these different parts of the states, as did you when you were playing. We live in the Metro New York area now full time, but my wife's from Alberta, so I spent a lot of time there. She's got family in BC. She has family in Whitehorse. She lived in Whitehorse. So when I'm talking about Gavin McKenna, my wife lived in Whitehorse. Her aunts live in Whitehorse. My brother-in-law is from Whitehorse. So having these types of conversations, there's a sensibility there. We're driving in Olds last summer. We're driving in Silver Star, BC. Like, so there's a feeling, whether it's that or North Bay or Detroit, that we kind of get an understanding for the places and the people and the fans and the players and what the game means in those different places to those people.
Yeah.
And obviously, Dusty, you played for years. You played pro. You played in the Olympics. You lived overseas. You lived in your ancestral home, like your cultural home. I think all those things kind of go into it too,
Yeah.
in terms of just our experiences in the game, our feel as people, but also our feel for what the game means in those different places too, which is pretty unique.
You know, when I watch the different analysts and then I watch the goalie analysts,
Mm-hmm.
correct me if I'm wrong, but the majority of them have a different way. They have a better balance. Like the word critical, it doesn't seem critical because they're very complimentary because they like Rudy's the same way. Like
Yeah,
he balances that line. Like he'll say, oh, he's got it, like you just said, he's got to have that one, but he'll also balance it out to make sure he doesn't knock the guy down because he's been there.
sure, for sure.
You don't see that as much with the players.
No,
Yeah,
you're right.
Am I wrong?
yeah.
No, you're not. But the way that I'll give you an example, and you brought up Kelly. So if Kelly talks about a goal that a guy gave up, he'll talk about the mechanics of it. Geez, that's a stoppable puck. It gets through the body or whatever. But then he might give a nugget as to, hey, this is a lot tougher than you think because
Yeah.
of X, Y, and Z. Let's not forget. So when I do color, and I'm sure Weeksy, you're probably the same
Yeah.
thing. If you're sitting on the couch and you're watching the game, we all watch the goal go in. Like that's,
Yeah.
that there's no debating. The puck's gone in the net. So when I started years ago, I used to write the word why.
Hmm.
Why? So you go, why did try and explain why that puck went into the net. And it's not just simply, hey, it went top glove and that's what happened. I go back two or three zones and go, this play develops because there's a missed assignment on the far blue line.
Yes.
Take a look at the D that pinches up here. Forward's supposed to help out. Now you're in a 2-on-1 situation and he goes down too early and goes to the close post or the far post. Like you start breaking it down, then you try and tell, in your opinion, why that play happened. And it's not just as simple as like, yeah, the goalie should have, according to everybody outside the goaltender union, the goalie should have every shot. Every coach
Yeah.
will say a goalie has to have that and be like, it was a 4-on-0. But like, at the end of the day, like I think when you do analysis, you try and tell people why and why you
Yeah.
think. So when you talk about Kelly or you name me an analyst, a goaltender analyst, you could talk about how it went in and where the goaltender's error was. But I also talk about the two or three errors that how it arrived into the net, just instead of the goaltender missed it. Unless it's a slap shot from center ice,
Exactly.
there's no
There's no, we
defending.
can't wait. We can't. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And we've been there too.
Yeah,
Oh
And
yeah.
we've all three of us have been there too on those.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. We've
yeah.
all been there on those. No, it's funny because that's exactly right. Like the game, as goalies, what do I say, we're conditioned to see the game happening as it evolves. So outside, like literally, I could close my eyes and picture like every arena that I played in as a kid, like from the parking lot, like from Ted Reeve Arena. I just mentioned Kamloops, not even from Kamloops to Father David Bauer in Alberta, like
Yeah.
to Royal Oak in Michigan, to like I'm not even playing around. Like I could see those. That's how sharp that was. But I think all you guys can echo that before the puck arrives on your doorstep, you got to you're seeing the whole thing happen,
Mm.
right? You're like, uh-oh, that's D McCannon who's got the puck there. Uh-oh, Scott Niedermayer's got it now. He gets it up to Lenny Barry. Oh no, all right. Now I got to get dialed. You
Yeah.
know, these are
Yeah.
guys you guys played against in the dub. Obviously, we played against in pro as well.
Mhm.
But all right, Mario's got it. Okay, Coffey's got it. No, Coffey's got it. Ron Francis has it. All right, now Mario has it. So we're just trained to see the game so far in advance of the puck arriving to us and us having to make a save and have a solution and make whatever save selection on said play. So, or a bang bang play or whatever it is. So I just think naturally goalies are that way.
Mm.
And then also too, like guys, come on, we have to be honest, especially with your viewers here. There is no position in the world of sports like being a goalie. None. None.
Yeah.
Now they're very similars. Pitcher similar,
Yeah.
quarterback even maybe even a little more similar in that we're isolated within a team concept. But man, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, and I'd love to hear from your audience too as this goes along. Once they watch, maybe in the comment section. I remember letting in a goal. I won't even say some of my teammates because they'll know. But I remember being 8 years old, and some of the parents like a goal goes in, and they'd be like, "Kev, come on, what's Kev doing? Come on." Now I can't even. I won't go into the impersonation of like their accent or their tone because they will know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's how it is, and you guys know too. Even on the bench, like some of the boys and some of your teammates, if it's girls hockey, whatever, some of them would be like, "What's he doing? He's got to make that save." So many people are already inherently kind of against you or against us or against the goalies, kind of. You're already isolated. You're already high walking on a wire. So we get accustomed to that, and we remember that feeling as Noodles and Dusty, as you guys said, we remember that feeling. So we kind of combine those things in how we talk about it and how we break the game down.
Makes
It's
sense.
true. It's Dusty. I want you to weigh in because your boy was a goalie, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
one of them. Yeah.
So my son just turned 9. He's been a goalie the last couple of years. And
Wow, man. It's
I'm
unbelievable.
not lying. You ask anybody, and maybe I
Yeah.
will end up being the crazy dad or whatever, but
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I just sit with my
Yeah.
headphones on in the corner,
Yeah.
and my wife will sit with the parents and with the wives and the moms and all that. And I just sit in the corner. But because of my schedule, I can't make everything. I travel.
Exactly. Understandable.
So I laugh because I've told my son, you don't have to be a goalie. You can be whatever you want. You don't have to play hockey if you don't want, but he wants to, and he wants to be a goalie right now. So I
Mm,
whatever you want to do, buddy, I'm good with you.
love it.
I'm calling a game. I'll never forget him. Ottawa, Tampa, and I'm in between the benches. And my son has a game that night. And TV timeout. I'm on the talk back talking to my producer, and
Yeah.
Ward Miller's calling the game, so he's upstairs. We're talking, and I see my wife calling, FaceTiming, and I'm like, something's got to be up. And
Yeah. Because she knows she's in the business. She knows that
I
you're doing the game.
literally, yeah,
Of course. Of course.
I
Yes.
answer the phone, and she's
Yeah.
like, he just let in a goal from outside the blue line.
Yeah.
And I go,
Oh,
what would you,
man.
I go, what would you like me to do about it? She's like, it's so
Oh,
embarrassing. And I go,
that's so
welcome
good.
to being a goal, like welcome
Yes.
not only to
Yes.
be a goalie, but welcome to
Yeah.
be a goalie parent, a goalie anything, right? Like
For
there's no
sure. For sure.
I was just I laughed to myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm calling again. What would you like me to do? Like, she's like,
Oh, it's great.
oh, thing. Like, and I'm like, yeah, that's you're on an island. So it's kind of funny. And
Oh my God,
there's
that's
more
hilarious.
anxiety kind of watching now than there is when
Sure.
I played, because it's like, okay. But I now look back and I laugh because you think of what our parents, what
Sure.
our brothers, sisters, girlfriends, you name
Yeah.
it, what they went through. And this is all without social media. This is
Yeah.
all
Oh
without.
yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
imagine. I see the stuff nowadays where, the Stuart Skinner's getting bullshit
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
to his wife on Instagram, and you're like, just like stop it, like. But
Yeah.
that type of stuff, I can't imagine
Mhm.
the amount of mental toughness, the mental, strength you have to have because the job that we do, Weeksy,
Yeah.
our information is instantaneous. It's out there on
Yeah.
X. It's we used to
Absolutely.
have to wait. If I had a bad game in Calgary, I had to wait to read about it in the
Yeah.
Calgary Herald the next,
Harold. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like nowadays, it's trending on Twitter. Nowadays,
Sure.
there are memes of stuff, and you're like, so that it's so different. I know the money's different. I know everything is different, but the exposure and I think the pressure is a lot different. It might be the same in a lot of different things. I don't know how you feel, but like Dusty, I'm sure you deal with the mental psyche of now guys getting beaten down. It's not just you're not beating yourself down as an athlete. We all are. We all are critical of our own game. Now you get everybody else's opinion and it's instantaneous. It's not
That's the difference. It's the
Mhm.
same, but it's amplified, a- and there are more levels and areas it's coming from now.
right.
It
Yeah.
used to be pretty simple. Hockey news
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
fans
Yeah.
Yeah.
in lifetime. Other than that, it was, you're pretty safe.
Yeah.
Like as far as, but now it's coming every which way from Sunday, like
Yeah.
every social media platform. And it goes right down to 10-year-old kids.
No, yeah.
Uh, like, so back in the day, you have a bad game, there's 10 people in the stands, like nobody, but now that 10 people now travels out to the social media world, and if it's
Mhm.
embarrassing enough, it can really harm kids. But
Yeah.
as far as the position and what the pressures of it is the same, but like I said, it's just amplified
Yeah.
times 10. But
Yeah.
I always bring it back to just nothing changes as far as how you should handle it.
Mhm.
Because the ball is in our court. It is just words. It is, I know it's harsher and it sucks, but we all got to handle it.
Mhm.
I don't try to baby any age, as
Hmm.
far as the ball's in your court. If someone says you suck, how do you handle it? If a million people now on the internet see it that you suck, you still got to handle it the same. It's no different.
Yeah.
It is a challenge though, because kids, especially the adolescents, the teenagers, like it's like that's their half of their life is, well, most of
Yeah,
their life is
that's the
online.
same.
So it's a tough balance. But I'll tell you what, that story you said, Noodles, about your son, it's so funny because as a goalie dad, I, but a pro ex-pro,
Yeah.
I didn't I didn't have any anxiety or anything. I thought it was funny, and I just downplayed it all, so Jonah didn't get, you know, like, why are they doing this, or this isn't fair or whatever. I just wrote it and watched and enjoyed watching him. It wasn't until I remember this, like he made that Team Canada World Junior Challenge,
Hmm.
and he played in
Excuse me.
Nova Scotia somewhere, New Brunswick, at that tournament. And he played in the final against the US,
Yeah.
and it was on TSN. So the whole family came over and friends, and they're all watching. And he got pumped for two, like right away. And that was the first time my
You
my
could
my
feel it.
heart, I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm behind the
Pacing. You're
couch now.
pacing. You're pacing.
I'm pacing.
You're pacing.
I'm like,
Yeah. Of
okay, now I'm feeling it. Now I'm feeling it. It was like, but it kind of, because it brought back memories. Like,
course.
and I'm like, okay, dude, just handle this, please. Just
Mhm.
take a drink. But that was the
Yes.
first time. Before that, I went to some of his junior games. I didn't
Mhm.
get all bent out of shape. He got yanked once in Surrey here,
Mhm.
and everybody went to see. I felt bad for him, but it was on the TV one. That was the first time I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
I I don't know.
I get it.
When I retired and I was a goalie coach and
Yeah.
coaching a bit and all of that, I felt that was the first time. Now I didn't have kids, and it's funny now that I look back, I feel like coaching is a lot like parenting because you
Mm.
feel like you can. So I'll give you an example, like Kipper, and Kipper was a savant, like, but
Unreal.
I would try and prepare stuff for him on the pre-scout. And there were days where he wanted the stuff, and then there were other days where he's like, I don't want to see a thing. I'm good. I know that team. I know the tendencies. Like there's times he wanted more and times he didn't. But like the minute that I did all my prep for him and then felt that he was good, and now I'm up and I'm just charting. Like as a goalie coach,
Yeah.
you're charting, right? Like at
Yeah.
shots and all of that type of stuff, right? Whatever you're taking your notes during you're the eye in the sky. But now that I'm a parent, I felt like coaching was like a parent, being a parent.
Mm.
You set your kids up to go to school, to set them all,
Hmm.
and you think you're going to have the greatest day. And my goalie gives up seven, and I prepared him, and I come and the players they got amnesia after the game. They're
Oh
like,
yeah.
"I'm going for dinner. I'm going for
Of
beer."
course. Where we going, boys? Boys, where
And
we going? Like,
as a
yeah.
coach, you got an owner, you got a GM, you got all these
Of
things.
course.
Now you're breaking video down, going, where the hell did this go wrong? So I felt like a coach. It was almost like being a parent. You have once you
Get it.
try and give them every opportunity to do, and but once they get out there, they're on their own, and you're just kind
Yeah.
of watching. That was the hardest part, the transition for me from playing into coaching, and
Mm.
is trying to help, but then at some point you're just behind the bench or you're upstairs and then you're watching this like a movie going, this is either going to go good or go bad. You just got this anxiety, but it's kind of funny because I didn't love coaching. I loved a
Yeah.
lot of things about coaching, but I
Sure.
felt it was a sense of helplessness once the
Mm.
game was on because you're just trying to manage within the game, a quick little nugget in between the first or second, if even if you decide to go in the room, depending on how it's
How it
going.
goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just so now being a parent, I just kind of laugh because I'm like, man, you just you go, and then you have the either anxiety on the outside, or you're like watching a movie.
I never,
Totally get that.
when I was coaching, that's one thing I made sure I treated them like they were part of me, the goalies. And I tried to stay real, from which I took a lot of ribbing for, that I didn't give a shit about, if I in LA's organization in Ontario, Stutz and I got along great, but he used to come into the office after if a guy let it, and he'd be like, and I'm like, I would shield him
Yeah.
to protect
Yeah.
them. And I'm like, I had no problem with that, because they were more important. At the end of the day, it was making sure that they were okay up here. Because,
Hmm.
but you're right, Jamie. Once you do all the work to help prepare them and keep them strong, they still got to stop the puck,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right? And
Yeah.
it's out of your hands. And that's what I tell Stats. I said, dude, I'm not stopping the fucking puck. I
yeah.
said, I'll talk to him and we'll work it out. But like, I don't know why you got the freaking eagle eye at me. Like,
That's common.
oh, it's
That-
for
That's too
Jared.
common, man.
I
Yeah.
he was he would have his little rant and they'd be done. But like, I've heard some stories where
Oh God, that's common. I've seen
co-
so much of that.
coaches, like I know
Huh.
Daryl was pretty hard.
Yeah, but Daryl was, you know what? Daryl was intense. That
Oh
was the
yeah.
one thing.
In
So
general. Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
So I knew like what it was going to be like before it was going to be like that. And you're right. Your instinct is to protect your guy. So I'll take
Hmm.
a bullet for my guy. And like there was a few times I took a few bullets where it was just like we had a tough stretch where Kipper and Toskala were not stopping pucks. And it was like, oh. And so Daryl said to me one time, he's like, we were flying, we got beat like 5-0 in Minnesota, and we were flying to Boston. I don't know, it was like back to back. It was a weird back to back. And Daryl was hot and I think he pulled Kipper. And then we got to Boston. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. He's like, I want everybody in my office, in my suite. So we had to go up and talk. And what do you make? What do you make? We've got 12 million in net. Who's going to play? I don't care if you guys split the game. You gotta play hard for me tomorrow, that type of stuff. And sure enough, we get pumped again. And he pulls Kipper and
Excuse me. That's great.
I'm just like, you're beside yourself. Like this is
Yeah.
back to back, like rough games from two
Yeah.
really good goalies, right? Like Toskala was regardless of what people, I liked Vesa, and I think he was
Yeah. You could play. You could play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was skilled. He wasn't a big guy, but he's skilled.
Yeah. You could play.
And man, oh man, like and they're the temperament of those Finnish guys is very different, right? They're pretty laid back, so it's
Right.
just like nothing bothers them. So I'm the one who's carrying this anxiety for them sometimes, and they're like laughing and the back of the plane laughing it up, and I'm like, oh my God, like so
Yeah.
there is that anxiety. That's why I felt like as a young goalie coach, I was like, I'm still learning my way through it, but I was treating it like a player, like
Hmm. Yeah. Of
Uh,
course.
treating it like all you know is your instinct as a player, and now you're trying
Yeah.
to pass on some of your knowledge or your experience. And just being eyes and ears of the goalie coach. But that's it, and you know what? We see it kind of spins into like what we do in the media too. It's
Big
just
time. Yes.
mm.
Yeah.
watch games, and then you give your opinion. And there are always going to be people that disagree with your opinion, but there's a lot of people that go, "Yeah, I can see it that way." That's the one thing that I think we have always like as an analyst, you're really an opinionist. You're just giving your
Right.
opinion as to like what you see. It's not like a puck over glass penalty where it's just cut and dry and that's it.
Right.
There are
Yeah.
things that happen that we all have a different take on as
Hmm.
to how things arrive there. A defensive coach will look at it a different way. A forward coach will look at it a different way, and then the head coach looks at it like the goalie's at fault all the time because just allow the goal. So it's really interesting the dynamic in it. And it doesn't matter what field we're in, whether we're coaching, a fan, or in the media, but everybody's kind of got their opinion as to like how things arrive at that. And that's the unique part about hockey. So it's pretty
Mhm.
cool that way.
Yeah, it is. I think, another layer that's become interesting too is just the outlet, like you guys talked on earlier, the outlet and the ability for people to express what they think and feel. And what's, pardon me, what's challenging about that, and I often go back to this, I want to be careful in saying it, but there's certain ways that you tape the stick. Do you tape it heel toe? Do you tape it toe heel? Like what do you do on your knob? Like what do you do? Do you do anything for the hand grip? Do you know the difference between 3/8 of the skate sharpening, your skates profiled and quarter of an inch forward? Like, hey man, we can get deep if you want to get deep, because those
Yeah.
are things that only we can know. Like only we can know.
Yeah.
To the point to where Vaughn sends you a pair of pads, and is it HD 90 foam in the shin or is it HD 70? You could feel the difference. Like, hey guys, you go to the trainer, you're like, these are a little different. No, they're not. We told them the same spec. No, these are a little different. Sure enough, more often than not,
Yeah.
then the pro rep's going to come back and be like, noodles again. Like, shoot,
Yeah.
Dusty, you want those for the Olympics again? Yeah, no, he's right. We put HD 80 and HD 85 in them instead of HD 70. Like, that's how granular and how intuitive it is in terms of our experience and our feel for the game. And I think what's hard is now where a lot of people give their opinion. In today's world, we're so accustomed to everything on demand.
Mm.
Swipe and click on demand. I want to watch this on Netflix, swipe, I'm on that. I want this on Apple TV, I'm on that. I'm on this. And it's kind of clouded sports. Sports don't work that way. Sports are real. This
Yeah.
isn't, you can't put a game into post-production. Let's edit, let's do this. No. Here's what happened on the play, or here's what didn't happen on the play. And by the way, some of that is our opinion and expertise and experience, but also it's fact. So, all of a sudden, I get sometimes, Doodles, I'm sure you get this too. You're breaking a game down. You're like, hey, man, the Sens got hammered. They're outshot 19-3 in the first period. They got hemmed into their own zone in that first. And not for really this hallmark. What else? What are you talking about? You hate the Sens. Bro, what? What? You hate Ottawa. You hate Gloucester. You hate Ottawa Valley. You don't like, like, bro, like, did you see the shot clock? They got outshot 19-3. I'm not saying anything, whatever. They got outshot 19-3. That's what the shot clock on the scoreboard says. So there's also that element of things now too.
You know what? You're right. Like it doesn't matter. There'll always be, and I have this formula and I'm wrong in it, but I feel like 80% of fans that watch either their team, no matter what, will support what they watch. They're a fan of X, Y, they're a fan of the
Sure.
center.
Yeah.
20% are either hate watch or just they don't like what they see. They're very negative, but
Yeah.
they're very loud.
Yeah.
That
Totally.
is so I talk to people all the time. Weeksy, you grew up here. I live in Toronto now.
Yeah,
Toronto
of course.
is very loud. But if
Very.
you talk to players, like they're like, man, I loved it here.
Right.
But we see the loudness. We see the loudness
Sure.
on X, we see the loudness
Yeah.
on TV and online and all that. A lot of those guys live in a bubble. They're like,
Yeah.
they go to the rink, they go practice, they go out to eat, you go out in public, they get treated great. Dion Phaneuf's a good friend of mine. Dion
Yes.
loved being captain in Toronto, but he was
Yeah.
a polarizing guy. But what the polarizing, was it more online? Was it more because the team wasn't great, at that
For sure.
time?
Yes.
Like he would tell me, he's like, I got treated like gold in Toronto. I love this. The organization treated him well, the fans treated him well, but there was, the 20% was
Yes.
pretty loud, and I would be concerned sometimes, Dusty,
Of
about.
course.
I'm like, man, Dion's taking a beating or whatever, and
Yeah.
I call him. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" Like not. He doesn't. He's unaware of it or just blocks it out because it's like
Yeah.
I get treated so well over here. So that sometimes we take literally some of the things, little nuggets that we see, as opposed to right. We see like call a game. Nobody's gonna love. Not everybody loves our call. Not everybody loves our information. And team gets outshot 19-3, and you're like, didn't play well in the first. Oh, there he is again. Hates.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm just telling it like it is and telling it
Totally.
honest. So, Dusty, you see that type of stuff.
The Toronto market is special. But you're right. Negative energy is, you called it loud, but
Hmm.
it can be very, very small. Like with what happened to me in TO.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, 1,000 positives of support, couple,
Yeah.
but those
Yes.
couple are very loud,
Hmm.
and that's what sells clicks,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and that's what gets spread faster, right?
For sure.
But it doesn't surprise me at all that there are 10 times more positive, great Toronto fans than there
Hmm.
are the negative ones or the Ottawa ones. Even
Sure.
in Ottawa, even though it just seems like, because when you clicking on media, social media, it's like Ottawa is always getting ripped on.
Well, it's a niche market,
Yeah.
not niche, but
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
it's a
Play junior in
passionate
Ottawa.
market.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a
of
passionate
course.
market, and they have a really big fan base. But for the most part, and I do about 50 games a year for them, like they're very like they love their team, they treat their
Hmm.
team well. The organization, Michael Andlauer took over there and has done a really good job, like really
Hmm.
good job. I remember his comments when he took over as an owner and just said,
Okay.
"I want best in class." He goes, "I
Hmm.
want." We're going to put money into the building. We're going to put money into the dressing room. We're going to put money into the organization. And, the fans, for the most part, I think have been happy. Obviously, you're going to
Hmm.
complain on a smaller scale on whatever individually things they don't like. But I've always thought that fan base has been really good and really good to
Hmm.
deal with. And it's like anything. Weeksy, you played in Canadian market. I played in
Hmm.
Calgary. And like, those fan bases are passionate.
Yeah.
And you hear it, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
for the most part it's positive. Like I always enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I would say this too. I think pardon me, sometimes for us in this side of the business, our approach is never, and we touched on this, our approach is never to bury players or to bury a market or to bury a team or to bury, and not everybody's like that.
No,
Everybody has their own style. Not everybody's like that. So, going back, Dusty, to your point too, like sometimes there's people out there that want to play I gotcha, and then they'll let their personal, be it perspective, vendetta, opinion, frame of thought, or frame of reference, they'll let that kind of dictate how much they go after a player or a market or whatever, which is crazy. Like, listen, guys, I played in the Sun Belt, man. And I remember people like, you're playing in Tampa? You're playing in Tampa?
yeah,
Does anybody go to the games down there? Bro, our team was stacked. Like, first of all, we had Vinny LeCavier, stud. Brad Richards, stud. Marty St. Louis, you may have heard of him, stud.
yeah,
Pavel Kabina, stud young defenseman. Vinny Prospal. Like, I could go up and down the line. Then all of a sudden, and I was Dan Kluche. Kluche and I, we both ended up playing the league a long time. Then all of a sudden, we bring in Habby Bullen, which wasn't good for me, but it was helpful for me because I learned a lot from him. Stud of studs in the
mhm,
net, and Habby Bullen. They won the cup 3, 4 years later, right? The great Dave Andrechuk, these different players. But people mocked that. Then they mocked us being in Florida, Florida Panthers, Miami, Pink Flamingos, hockey. You guys are clowns. Carolina, you guys are clowns down there. Now all of a sudden, some of those same people are still working. It's an unfair advantage. It's unfair. The tax, the beach, the sun, the golf course, the tax code. Did the beach just get there? Did the
Yeah.
sun just get there? Did the tax code just get there? Like, they used to criticize LA. Then all of a sudden, Daryl Sutter and those guys had other ideas. They ran a great program. You were in LA's organization.
Yeah.
They run a great program. They win 2 Stanley Cups. They got Hall of Famers and Kopitar, Dowdy, Jonathan Quickie. Like, hey, man. So it's just interesting to see how much that dynamic at times has also shifted with coverage, and how sometimes different, everybody has their own style, but some people's coverage then can be impacted in how they cover the market or how they cover the players or and it can be detrimental because it's not always very objective. And I got to go back. It's not always very accurate when it comes to
mhm.
that too. And
Well,
that's tough. That's a tough one.
it's a good lesson too, Weeks. You talk about there's a cycle, and really it comes back to one thing you said is if you build a good program, people want a piece of it, and
Yes.
You know, that it doesn't matter where you are. You know,
Totally.
for a long time, Winnipeg, like, yes, I can say this having grown up in Edmonton. There's
Yeah,
certain markets where you either have to pay a cold weather tax or
for
an
sure.
isolation tax, all of that. So
Yeah.
players going to sign for 3 million. It might be four in Winnipeg. It might be four in another
Hmm.
market, maybe a market. You know, Edmonton's different now with McDavid and Draisaitl there, but they were there a long
That's
time.
right.
Edmonton was not
Yes.
a destination of choice. So the
Yep.
point being is it comes back to now with 32 teams, now with so much parity in the league, you might
Hmm.
see, you know, teams that had great seasons last year shift out and teams that were close shift in. Like there might be that cycle. But if you build a good program, people put their hand up and say, I don't care about the snow. Or yes, I will. I'm loving the fact that it's a tax-free state. I think Dallas has built a really good program.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Build a good program. Oh, and it just happens to have a beach, or it just happens to have a good tax code in that. Right now, the cycle for Florida is really high because those organizations have been strong. But you know, when they age out, and there is
Hmm.
going to be pain at some point in Vegas, there's going to be pain in Florida and in Tampa
Hmm.
because when
Hmm.
all those stars age out, there is going to be that cycle where name me the next team, Anaheim, where it's been lost, you know, Anaheim, it's going to be San Jose with that very passionate fan base, but high taxes and
Hmm.
Hmm.
all that type of stuff. You know, noise ban, you got to get, you know, got to get the plane in the air by 11 o'clock at night or you're stuck there
Exactly.
like,
You're
after
stuck.
the, like there's things that there's positive and negatives things that come with every market. And it's
Yes.
just a cycle right now. So I think
Let me,
that's
those are, I totally agree with all that. Let me jump in because this is pretty interesting and it's a bit of a trivia question. I'm going to ask this of you guys and I'm curious to see when your viewing audience weighs in. Do you know, not this past NHL season, but the prior two NHL seasons, okay? Not this past one that just went by with Carolina winning. Do you know the tied for third most profitable team in the world of all professional sports, who that would be?
In all sport?
All of sports in the world, all the professional sports.
I'm guessing.
The number three team.
I'm just guessing, and I'm going to say it's the Rangers, but I might be wrong. Is
Come
it
again,
Toronto?
one more.
Leafs.
The Oil.
Really?
Come on.
The Oil tied with the LA Rams, and NFL Rams, LA Rams, Edmonton Oilers tied for third most profitable professional sports team in the world for 2 years running.
Of course, back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals. You've got the Golden Goose, his jersey, Draisaitl. Those, like you think about it, the Moss Pit, the new building there. I
Thank
heard,
you.
I won't quote
Thank
the
you.
number, but I heard what they were bringing in per game in the playoffs, and it was a monster number. So you're
It's
right.
absurd.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's
it's funny
amazing.
to say that. I just thought value of organizations because
Sure.
the Rangers are never going to go down, the Leafs are never
Of
going to go down,
course. Of
Montreal.
course.
But you're right, like just actual real money. Yeah, you go to the finals 2 years in a row and have that type of bandwidth, like that type of. You did the finals so
Unbelievable. Yeah,
you're in
we were
this,
there.
you're in those cities. You're in Edmonton. The whole city just is electric,
It was
and
wild.
you know, it's insane. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Sunday, I went to the Jays game here in Toronto. I
Yeah.
got good tickets or whatever. It's the Yankees.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how people afford, like, we
Of
had,
course.
I had a hot dog and I bought my buddy a beer and I had a Diet Coke. It was 38 bucks. I'm
Yeah.
like just the amount of money these teams print
Yes.
go deep into a run. I can't imagine how much the Blue Jays made last year going deep into, you know, all the way to the World Series. And really, it comes back to what you just mentioned, Weeksy. You build a winning
Hmm.
program,
Yeah.
money to spend. They have, you know, they're going to go out, they're going to do things, and the program is people want a piece of that program. That's really
Of course.
Hmm.
Totally. And the thing is, too, like you get the best. And I know this from some of my conversations with some teams, around some different roles. I've had different interviews and stuff. And it's what, it's that. I'm like, listen, man, I'll tell you what it is. All your touch points, like to quote you what you said about Andlauer, have to be best in class. all your touch points, all your resources. Don't be scrimpy with the trainers on laces and tape and what. Make sure you have the best in class all across the board. Players talk. You see this now more than ever. Players talk. We always used to. Hey, what's going on over there? Here's what's happening in Calgary. What's going on in Van? Hey, what's going on in Detroit? Like players always talk, but
Yeah.
especially now more than ever with cell phones and technology and DMs and everything else, and all these international stuff. You know, the U.S. Development Program, Team Canada U17s, junior, college. Players talk and they compare notes. So then it's like, hey, what are you guys getting here? Hey, here's what we have. Here's how we travel. Here's what the practice facility looks like. So all of that goes part and parcel with creating and I have to give the oil, not limited to the Panthers, unbelievable what they've done. Tampa, unbelievable. Carolina on a kind of a budget discounty program, but my man Rod Brindamore overcomes all of that by how Roddy is and how he operates and how he treats people and how the staff is as well. And then how they set the tone for the players. But all those things are so important. And I think that those are some of the things when we're breaking stuff down. You see what they did up in Edmonton with Daryl Cates, and players don't forget. Remember during COVID, actually, when they had the bubble, so many players got to see what Edmonton had.
Yeah.
And a lot of these players and coaches are like, this is best in the league, this setup right now. What? The JW Marriott's right here. They've got this, all these gyms, they've got that, they've got all this. So it was kind of like a bit of a showcase. And I'm of the belief that you should run your pro team like a lot of the US NCAA college university programs are run. Have like all the resources, have it all set up, and you'll attract the best of the best for sure. Big
Those
believer in
college
that.
setups are insane.
Stick.
Dusty, do you think that we should have gone to college instead of grinding it out in Uxbridge, Alberta, or what?
I remember going to the first couple of scouting trips I had to do to watch some prospects, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I went to Lethbridge.
Yeah.
You know, dude, we gotta do this again because I want to dig into some fun old stories.
Sure.
But I know you got to go, Weeksy.
No problem. Go ahead. I've got another 5 or 10. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. I've got all these. I had some really good topics, but I'll end on this. I want to ask you guys both. An old player I had. I want to know your take and what the hell's going on with Helly.
Okay, so this is a multi-layered answer. First of all, I'm a big, and I know you've been very instrumental in Connor Hellebuck's progression, rise, level, and success that he's had. So congrats to you on that. I know you've been there from day one, really. I think with Connor Hellebuck, pardon me, and Noodles, we've talked about this on the times when I joined you guys on TSN as well. You win 3 Veznas. That's like, that's another planet to win 3 Veznas, to be a 3-time Vezina Trophy winner. So that speaks for itself. I think the consistency, the games, the volume of games played, everything else, all that's there, unquestionable. Then I think the other part of it is in the playoffs, and I've done some Jets games in the playoffs too for ESPN. He's been really good on home ice. He hasn't been as good on the road in the playoffs, and they haven't had the team success that they should have as a team based on the personnel that they have and that they've had in Winnipeg. They should have gone further numerous times. Obviously, we know that as a club. Then what he did in the Olympics, I think, is historic. It's the Miracle on Ice 2.0. Really, that's what that meant and means to the game. You know, for us anywhere, but certainly for us living down in the States and seeing how many people were talking about it coming off 4 nations and then the Olympics and how many young girls and boys are playing and everything else. You guys know that too. Now I think the challenge is, and that's what I was alluding to before, we do have some people, and there are some folks out there that were nasty, for a lack of a better word, because Team USA won. That were nasty, and that were very petty, and that were, very insecure in certain ways, but overcompensating in other ways, and ultimately just trashy and not classy. And one thing we all know, and we've had, you guys tell the truth, how many times You guys get pumped for a game in Pee Wee. No matter how good we were, you get pumped. Now you're in Bantam, you're still Mr. It, but you still get pumped in the game, right? And you got that car ride home with your parents or whoever, your aunt, your uncle, your grandparents, whatever. And the game humbles you. So you had no choice but to be humble in a way. But I found that some of the vitriol and the way that that was covered by some folks, it's like they were pecking. They were pecking at some of those American-born players having won.
Yeah.
And that's unfair to them. Like, what are you supposed to do? Not want to win for your country? Whether you play in Canada or if you play in Ethiopia or if you play, not that hockey's played in Ethiopia, but you get what I'm saying. And just, wherever you're playing, you want to feel good about yourself going to the rink and proud of yourself. But when you play for your country, man, like, and you have success for your country, you can't be vilified for that. He, among others, were vilified for that in some Canadian markets, which I think doesn't represent the best of us as Canadian folks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
I was embarrassed,
it was embarrassing.
to be honest.
And you can't. And Noodles, I'll kick it to you. You can't help but say, "Come on, guys, what are we doing? You can't be sore losers. You can't be like that, and you can't fault players. In this case, your guy Helly or Brady or whoever, whatever. You can't fault them for being upset about that. Austin Matthews, insert the name, Quinn Hughes, whatever. So, anyways, I'll kick it to you.
No, I'll get back to where I think where Helly's at, but I think I agree. What's happened is the world is so polarizing, and now we see it in the WNBA right now as we're living
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Yes,
Politics,
yes.
politics and everything's crossed over, and
Yeah.
they've skewed the way that people have looked at things. And what
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to do, and I know it's a really slippery slope, and I know we can't do it because of how polarizing life is right now, but I would love for it doesn't mean you can't have an opinion on politics, but what's
Mm-hmm.
happened is that's crossed over as your opinion on politics have changed your opinion on players
Yes.
who either, they're affiliated with or whatever. And I know
Mm-hmm.
there's this national pride, but there were times where it's like, okay, I called the game in Ottawa and Brady comes
Mm-hmm.
after winning and he's gone to the White House and people are mad. And you're like, he's your captain. Austin Matthews,
Exactly.
they had the video for Austin Matthews when he got back. There was booing. I mean,
Booing.
that's your
Come
captain.
on.
So I get it. I think when it comes to Connor, that's my little thing on what happened to those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Because they can be happy for winning. They're never going
Yeah.
to take that away from them. What I think we need to do in Canada is get our act together and continue to push and take that back so they don't win next time. So like, and they were close. Like the end of the day, Helly stole the game. But
He
I
was
think
unreal.
Canada's program's fine. They just got to get back on the horse. But with Hellebuck, the one thing I've always loved about him, which I never had as a player, he'd allow 7 goals, and his media afterwards would be like, "I felt great," and I'm like, "Dude,"
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't know if that
Yeah.
was faking it to make
I
it.
know what you're saying.
They
I know what you're
get
saying. Yeah.
swept by Colorado in the playoffs. He's given up 7 a night, and he's
Yeah.
like, "You're not going to believe this, but I thought I played what?" But it was
Uh,
like he has this
yeah.
force field around him, and I love him for it because I never had that as an
Yeah.
athlete.
Yeah. Yeah.
I respect the hell out of him for being competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And they missed the playoffs. They were
Mm-hmm.
not a very good team. The injury to Adam Lowry into the injury to Hellebuck, they just didn't have a great season. Kind of
Yes.
reminded me of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like it just
Yeah.
they
Yeah. No, it's a
all
good parallel. Yeah.
didn't make it.
That's,
And
yeah.
for his comments at the end of the year to go, I want to win. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And he basically calling out the organization. We got to get better here and that. So it's construed as to you're American. He wants to
Yeah.
get.
Exactly.
I don't know that. I'm not in his mind. I'm not in his camp. I don't know him. But what I
Mm-hmm.
would say is I respect the hell out of a 3-time Vezina winner, a Hart Trophy winner going, I want to win, and putting his organization, who he signed a long-term deal with, on blast saying, either let's get better here or let's look at if you're going to have a succession plan moving past some of the because he's getting older.
Yeah. Of course.
Guy. So to me, I don't look at it a way like he put his hand up and said, "Get me the hell out of here." To me, I've played with lots of high-end athletes that are pissed when they lose. And
Yep.
that's what I got out of it. He was pissed when they didn't make, he was embarrassed. This guy won, he was on the top of the mountain and won a gold medal. And then he's having to do a year-end media where they missed the playoffs. So he's not going to be all smiles and go,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? Like he's going to say, things better change around here. We got to get our act together. So I took it that way. I might be completely wrong on that, but I come back to I respect the hell out of him because here's a guy who, when I watch him nights, some nights I'm like, that guy didn't move on that play. He just stood there and made a save where I would have been up, down, over,
Yeah,
and
same. Yeah.
like that guy has enough confidence to not move in the net and get hit by the puck. Like he's for me is the most fascinating goaltender to watch because he's not overly athletic. He's not overly. There's a lot of things that a lot of goaltender coaches will tell me and go, God, I don't like this about him. I don't like this about him. Well, you know what I like about him? The guy's in the net every night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He makes saves. And, regardless. So I do have a lot of respect for Connor. I don't know where it's going to go. But, again, what's happened is you've taken the player, then you've taken the American thing, and then you've taken what Quinn Hughes did, and now Brady Tkachuk's done. So now, okay, he's next up. Well, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I respect the hell out of him. And I got to go back on one comment, Dusty, before you let us go. I love Lethbridge. I just often wonder if I went to college, I may not have left that college. I would have been on the 10-year plan. I probably wouldn't have played pro, put it that way. I would have been like college would have injured me in a way that probably would have hurt my career. So I'm very lucky that I was able to play in Lethbridge because if I went to college, I don't know what would have happened. I might not have played pro.
So good. That's so good.
I would probably agree. I was always going to ask, I would love to do a whole thing on our stories, but we can't tell 90% of them.
You mean 90, you mean 98% of them.
Yeah.
We can't. But the 2% we can share will be unbelievable.
No doubt.
Exactly.
Yeah. The 2% we can share will be unbelievable.
Well, boys, we have to do this again because
let's do it again. Let's do it again before the season starts.
It's a lot of fun. And I'd love to get your take on some other things, more goalie specific. But today, since this week's your first time us doing this, and we can delve more into the goalie end of things. But I really appreciate you guys taking the time. It's great seeing you again.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us, man. Thanks, Dust. Keep up the great work. Noodle's always good to chop it up too. Yeah, let's do one again. I don't know, sometime within the next 2 weeks if that works for you guys.
Yeah. All right, boys.
Sound good?
Right on.
That's going to cost you a steak, though. This one's a complimentary. Hey, Noodles, tell them. It might be the cake.
Is that how it rolls?
It could be Earl's. It could be Earl's. I don't know.
It's Gotham Steakhouse.
I love Gotham, bro. Are you kidding me? I love Gotham and Black and Blue and Van. So we'll take you up on that. But we'll do it.
Black and Blue.
Yeah, we'll do it.
All right, boys. All right, man.
Fellas. Thanks for having us.
You bet.
Take care, boys. Later.
Bye-bye.